Good morning. Welcome to your Stylo News Intelligence Update for West Africa. Today is April 21st, 2026, and we're going to break down the key events and developing security situation from the past 2 weeks.
Just before we begin, this update is brought to you by ProWave AI. They're the developers of Stylo Intel Ops, the very same AI-powered intelligence platform that drives the analysis here at Stylo News.
All right, let's get straight to it. We'll start with the bottom line up front, the most critical takeaways you need to know about what's happening in the region right now.
Okay, first, let's orient ourselves on the map. Over the past couple of weeks, the real hotspots, the epicenters of activity, have been concentrated in two main zones. You've got the Sahel, specifically Mali and Niger, and then you have northeast Nigeria.
And when you look at what's happening in these areas, you start to see four major patterns taking shape. First, there's the persistent jihadist violence. That's a constant. Then you have the political instability, which is only getting deeper under these new military-led governments. Of course, this has a massive and, frankly, escalating impact on civilians. And finally, we're seeing these huge shifts in who is partnering with whom on the international stage. All these pieces connect and feed off each other.
All right, let's narrow our focus now to Nigeria, because that's where we've seen the most significant kinetic activity lately. And there's one incident in particular that really demands our attention.
We're talking about the airstrike in Yobe State on April 11th at the Jilly Market. What happened here has sent shockwaves through the region, and it's raising some very serious questions about how this war against insurgency is being fought.
And this is where things get complicated. The information is all over the place. On one hand, the Nigerian military states it was a successful operation against ISWAP militants, but they haven't released any casualty figures. On the other hand, look at these numbers. Amnesty International reports over 100 killed. A UN security report puts the number at least 56, and local community leaders on the ground. They're suggesting casualties could be as high as 200. This massive gap in information points to the tragic possibility of severe civilian harm.
Now, pulling our lens back from that specific incident in Nigeria, let's look at the broader Sahel, because what's happening there is a huge piece of this puzzle. We're witnessing a fundamental conflict over the very future of governance in this region. You can really see this split crystallizing into two competing blocks. On one side, you have the alliance of Sahel states. That's the military juntas in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. For them, the priority is state sovereignty and a very security-first approach. But pushing back against them is a new group, the Alliance of Democrats of the Sahel. This is made up of exiled politicians and civil society leaders who are advocating for a return to constitutional rule. It's a clash of two fundamentally different visions.
And this political standoff, well, it's having devastating consequences on the ground. You've got this power vacuum that's being filled by rival jihadist factions. Al-Qaeda's affiliate, JNIM, and Islamic State groups are now fighting each other right on the Niger-Nigeria border. Meanwhile, the juntas are responding with aggressive counterterrorism, including drone strikes, which often carry a high risk of civilian casualties. And the human cost, it's immense. We're seeing attacks on schools in Niger, and just recently, over 13,000 Malian civilians had to flee into Mauritania.
So with that context on the ground, let's zoom out one more time to the geopolitical level. What do these shifting alliances mean? And more importantly, what should we be watching for?
This timeline really paints a picture of just how fast the chessboard is being rearranged. At the end of last year, the French military completed its withdrawal. Right after that, the military juntas band together to form their own bloc. And now, this month, we're seeing new players step in. Turkey has just signed an enhanced military cooperation deal with Niger, and at the same time, the U.S. administration is signaling a major policy shift, moving towards more pragmatic engagement with these very same juntas. The old partnerships are dissolving, and new ones are quickly taking their place.
And it's not just about military pacts. You have to follow the money. And the big number to watch right now is $25 billion. That's the value of a proposed gas pipeline connecting Morocco and Nigeria. An agreement is expected this year, and if it's signed, this could fundamentally redraw the energy and economic map of West Africa. So as we look to the horizon, here are the key questions to keep in mind. First, will this new joint military force from the Sahel states actually be effective? Second, is that massive Morocco-Nigeria gas pipeline deal going to be finalized this year? And third, how will this growing rivalry between the major jihadist groups play out? The answers to these will really dictate what happens next. Okay, so that's the view from 30,000 feet. But of course, there is so much more to each of these stories.
To really understand the strategic implications here and what's likely to unfold next, we go much deeper in our full Stylo News Intelligence Update podcast.
You can find the full Stylo News Intel update on your favorite podcast channel, or simply follow the link right there in the description.
Thank you for joining us for this intelligence update. For AI-powered news on demand, you can always visit us at www.stylonews.com.